Welcome to another edition of Fridays with Fred. My name is Fred Said. Today's topic is, if you're a tenant, how do you best prepare for a privately owned condo or home in regards to today's foreclosure marketplace? See, as a tenant, when you want to rent a privately owned home, there is that worst case possibility that the homeowner could foreclose. Now, does it happen in today's marketplace? Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's happening to tenants all the time. So what you want to do prior to agreeing to renting a privately owned home is do your due diligence. Have yourself or your agent look up the property to see if it's currently in foreclosure, and be very frank with the homeowner and say, you know what, I'm going to rent this home for the next year or two. I want to make sure that you're financially stable and you're not going to foreclose. So prior to moving in, that's what you could do. Let's say, for example, and this happens a lot, you move into a property, you do your due diligence, everything is fine. All of a sudden, 6 to 8 months later after you moved in, there's a notice on your door, this property is going to foreclose in the next 30 to 60 days. Now, what do you do in that situation? You want to go ahead and communicate with the landlord and ask them what the real story is. And if you find out that they truly are going to foreclose, well then you know what, you got to do your best to get your security deposit back and find a replacement property. Otherwise, you can go ahead and communicate with them, and if they say, no, we're working with the lender, we're going to get this back into good standing, then all you want is proof from the landlord that they're actually doing this work to get it out of foreclosure. So that's what you can do before you move in, and what you do when you're moved in and it happens to you. Now, like I said, it happens a lot to tenants right now, so it's very important that as a tenant, you know exactly what you're doing and be very proactive in this process. If you're passive and you just sit back and say, well, I'm just going to see what happens, one day the sheriff can knock on your door after the property's been foreclosed and says, knock, 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 you got to be out of here in 3 days. So do your due diligence, be proactive, and I hope you've got some valuable information out of this if you're a tenant or plan to rent a privately owned condo. And make sure you tune in again next week for another edition of Fridays with Fred. Why? Because that's what Fred said. Have a great day.